What's up, YouTube? I want to talk about the differences between the best Resident Evil games, in my opinion. And I want to start off with talking about Resident Evil 4, the original version. Um, Now, when I was a kid, I played this game numerous times. And it's always been one of my favorite games, just because the level of immersion that you get out of this game, even before the remake started popping off on a global scale, really, it broke boundaries within what a zombie shoot 'em up game could really be. And you don't really get that with a lot of games that are trying to modernize themselves way too quick within the industry of gaming. No game has really surpassed the level of you know just what Resident Evil 4 did overall for the Resident Evil fan base. It blew most of their other games, even up to this point, completely out of the water, and will always be one of my favorites deep in my heart. Now, the character progression in Resident Evil 4 and the build-up of the main character story arc is also what helps to keep the selling point for Resident Evil 4, the original, and also the remake. Now, going into Resident Evil 5, you have different main character story arcs that build up and progress, which help you understand and, feel tension build up between separated characters in the plot. Now, I like Resident Evil 5 because when you're, leveling up your weapons, it's not so much about leveling up your weapons, but the choices you make to level up the right weapons can be used on all sorts of different varieties of zombies, not just normal zombies. So, preferably, I'll go with the pistol upgrades, for Chris. And make sure you're getting a lot of flash grenades, stuff like that. Make sure you don't have too many healing items, but enough to, keep your character from fucking full on dying, obviously. And if you take gaming seriously, you don't really depend on healing items like that anyways, because it just seems less justifiable to use them all the time, you know what I mean? But Resident Evil 5 is my second personal favorite Resident Evil game, including the original Resident Evil 4. And I want to talk about the new Resident Evil Requiem game that came out for Xbox Series X, and why I like it versus why I disagree with people who think that they got conned out of a good game. I do not think you got conned out of a good game. I think maybe your experience might be different depending on where you live. Recently read a review online. It says people in Japan are disheartened by the fact that some of the gore is not as raw and dignified as it could be, potentially. But at least they still get to, play the game. So a little bit of the gore not being present kind of cancels itself out because they're still playing a game, you know what I mean? Like, it just gives some people something to rant about so they can, cause a hysteria like it matters anyways. The game's already out. I can't change it. Just like they can't change this. Like, Japanese people are smart, right? The United States is smart too. But when we create this mass hysteria about things that aren't really a problem and then make them into a problem, it's going to remain to be a problem. It doesn't matter if it has to do with technology or fucking advanced warfare systems or whatever the fuck you want to believe that it is. But the reason I like Resident Evil Requiem is it has such a good introduction to Leon's character, for one. And you can also pick up and use a chainsaw as Leon, which you could never do in any of the other Resident Evils. And you can kill zombies using a chainsaw as Leon, which is cool. And, you know, I like to use the pistol as Leon. I've always been kind of a pistol connoisseur when it comes to the Resident Evil games. And it's also really good because the way that the cinematography like takes a hold onto you, like throughout the course of the game, it switches up to where you think that the game is over sooner than you expect. Like after you leave the fucking hospital area, once you get the 3 emblems in the door in Resident Evil Requiem, but then you're playing as Leon again and you're exploring Raccoon City. So it's not even over yet. And you got all this stuff going on that's building up and advancing the separated main character story arcs, which helps progress what the story of Resident Evil is supposed to actually be about, which is a pretty key role in understanding why Resident Evil was so important to the zombie-based shoot 'em up style video games. And so far, I really like it. I don't see why people complain about it. I mean, a little bit of gore not being present in the game that you paid money for. I mean, the only person you can really blame is yourself. You can't get mad at people who created the game to be intended to look a certain way. That's just how it is. But, I mean, I don't fully disagree with you either. I mean, it makes sense to, have a arguable, reason to kind of try to justify your own opinion about it. Nothing wrong with that. But I kind of want to end the video here and just say that